Hello there viewer, welcome back to my channel. It's been a short while since I uploaded, but I'm back today, ready to ready for a new episode. So if you've been surfing the internet for as long as I have, you've come across a lot of content creators. Many of them are inspired by others. Many of them just take the talking points of others and repackage them. And the content creator I want to talk about today is believed to have done that. Chrissy is a content creator who focuses on hypergamy and colorism and dating strategies. And for quite a while, people have suspected that she is like a pro manosphere channel because at the same time that she started speaking about femininity, all of a sudden the manosphere had switched over to start talking about how black women are not feminine. So it has always seemed like her content was meant to, you know, shape black women into what black males want. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show why the colorism conversation is rather redundant for where we are at, and I'm going to explain why. So number one, you probably remember that Chrissy has a lot of issues with Divested Zealot, mainly because she thinks that Divested Zealot is going to endanger black women and such and such. But I can tell you for a fact that black women have nothing to lose. The way most black women live, if you actually followed up on the types of things that happen to them, you'd know that black women have nothing to lose at this point. I think my video on Trina Daniels proved that. Please remember that I don't even focus on all the cases. So without further ado, let's start with the first one. The first thing Chrissy and other ladies who talk about colorism don't understand is that black women follow black male social cues. This means that black males may not outright say something, but black women know for a fact that they prefer this. A good example is the whole natural hair saga, how there was a natural hair movement, but it didn't go according to plan because black women were trying to, no, black women were trying to appeal to black males, and when they saw that wearing their natural hair didn't work, most of them went back to relaxers. Never mind the fact that since the 90s, doctors have been warning about these chemicals. That's a good example of a social cue. But the one I want to talk about also relates to femininity in that um, black women have always been feminine. If a simple Google search can show you that in the 60s, 70s, the 20s, black women were feminine. And it wasn't, and back in the day, there wasn't this overrepresentation of biracial women. It was actual dark skinned black women. Because I think at the end of the day, saying black women and dark skinned black women is almost the same thing. The number of light skinned women is very small, and to be honest with you, a lot of them have bleached their skin, and the rest are biracial. And very few are actually light skinned when you actually look at it. Most black women are dark skinned, so that's why I'll be using that term. And if you have been keeping up with history, you will see that this shifted sometimes in the 90s, and the ratchet culture took over. Now we have people like Sukihana, we have black women who are arguing for the right to wear bonnets in public. It's that happened because black males took over black women's image. Back in the day, the black entertainers were under white men, and they were feminine. White men have nothing to prove by degrading black women. It was when black males took over the black women's image that we had this. And it's kind of gotten out of hand because black women are the ones who kind of followed this in a way to appeal to black males. And it seems like Chrissy is falling into the trap once again, where black males had said that, oh, black women are too pretentious. They need to be more masculine, less uptight. Now, like a few decades later, it's switched and now they want feminine women. So if you follow Chris's advice, you're just going to keep going back and forth. You're just going to have to keep changing your aesthetic and your beliefs every few decades, because that's what black males have to keep you in this cycle, and it's not worth it. So another part of this is the SJW culture. That is also black males doing. They wanted women who fought for them, who were united for the black community, and that's why we have these SJWs. In my opinion, SJWs are worse than the ratchet women because they are the ones in politics, they are the ones in the media, they are pushing the worst narratives about black women. And remember that the ratchets, the ones from low income households, are dependent on the policies passed by the lawmakers, and these were the SJWs are. So in my opinion, these are the main issue affecting black women, the SJWs. They are very destructive, and once again, black male social cues push these women to place these males' interests above that of other women. Number two, it's all of them. It's just that the quote unquote good ones that Chrissy would have you believe are worth dating know how to code switch. See, there are black males who will exist within environments where they have a bit more to lose. So they are more cautious and hide behind accounts on places like Twitter where they abuse black women. A good example is Chef Will. Now, Chef Wei is the type of male who Chrissy would have advised black women to go for. But the funny thing is that despite his educational background and all that, he behaves exactly like Kodak Black. They have the exact same rhetoric and beliefs. So what's the point of the education? There's another thing with a lot of pro-black people. The education does not seem to help them. And once again, it's the SJWs that keep these people in their positions because they're the ones pushing for these diversity programs that put these types like Chef Wei at the positions they are at. So you can imagine that Chrissy has been telling black women about good, quote unquote, good black males. But every single day, here comes another professional black male getting exposed for saying such things about black women. And you have to understand that within the same week that Chef Wei was exposed, another one called, I think, Canel Joseph was also exposed. If you're going to say that it's not all black males and start going by ticking off in the list one by one, you're going to be here for quite a long time. And you don't need to learn the hard way. So please just accept Divested Zealot's advice when it comes to hashtag or another thing is that their actions speak louder than words. As you can see, there's a black male who was tweeting about how much he only likes people who date and interact with other black people, but was caught in a white woman's DM talking about how I strictly don't date black women ever. And believe me, I have reasons. But there's someone who tweeted that if you date outside your race, we can't be friends. Friends or lovers, black only. See what I'm talking about? Code switching. What they say in private is very different from what they'll say in public to get black women to be SJWs for them. And the funny thing is that no matter the nationality, they are like this. They may tell you, people like Chrissy may tell you to find a black male from another country. But look at this. This was just a few weeks ago where this black male was disparaging black American women. This is an African, and he was saying that most married men just feel like leaving their wives, especially if they're married to black American women. But of course, he was also talking about African women. And you can see from the replies, it got thousands of replies, and all of them were saying, yes, I want to leave my wife. They do not give any concrete reason. They just want to leave because for no reason actually. And the funny part is that the person who made this post is Kenyan. You have Nigerian replies and South African replies. So you see, West, East, and South Africa, same rhetoric. See, this is a TikTok from Kenya about how dark-skinned Kenyan guys project their self-hate on dark-skinned babes. This is a global problem. Colorism is not really, it's an issue that black males create. Okay, you can pause to read the comments. You see, it doesn't matter the age either way, because this lady had her 6-year-old son tell her that she's not as pretty uh, as his father's white girlfriend. So you see, it starts at an extremely young age. This is something that's like embedded in their DNA. Colorism is a problem pushed entirely by black males. Number 3, black women suffer from trauma. Now, this might seem insignificant, and I know people like Chrissy may think that it doesn't affect them because maybe they do not live in certain neighborhoods. The problem with social degradation is that sooner or later it will catch up with you. And I know Chrissy, and around 4 years ago, Chrissy was the same person complaining about getting stalked and harassed for simply filming a vlog. So anyway, some black women are not as fortunate as she was. They suffer from trauma. You already know the statistics. 62% of black girls before the age of 18 are assaulted. And that's just the ones who admit, because already know how black people feel about the police. And this is a huge problem because that mental anguish, and combine this with the endemic poverty, because like you've seen, black males enjoy and abandoning their families, leaving them with financial responsibilities. Most black women end up poor. When you consider the fact that black people are less than 20% of the total US population, but black women are 25.3% of those below the poverty line. And no one has considered how many are in, you know, how many lost their jobs during the pandemic and all that. And all these factors come together. You see, when you grow up poor and with these mental health problems, it's likely that you'll develop toxic coping mechanisms. A good example is learned helplessness and trauma reenactment. It's the reason some black women are stuck in a cycle. Some black women cannot, they have poor impulse control. It's trauma reenactment to kind of make it okay in their mind and to give themselves that sense of control. Learned helplessness is that when someone becomes stuck, most people believe that it's like the precursor to depression, because the person does not want to move. They are kind of frightened of failure or of retaliation by the people they're surrounded by. And these are very legitimate problems that affect black women's ability to be feminine. See, once they suffer from trauma, now they view femininity as as the issue. So of course they're going to flee from this. And who is causing all this trauma if not black males? Another problem with Chris is that now when you focus mainly on femininity and dating, you are ignoring what is called the Maslow hierarchy. It's the needs of a human being. Now, since many black women are facing poverty, they are single mothers, they do not value education because if you are within the black culture, you are obviously not valuing the white man's system. What else? You find that they will have trouble fulfilling their physiological needs and their safety needs. But what Chrissy is preaching is actually up here: self actualization and esteem. You need to first start with this for a good foundation. You cannot just tell these women to be feminine out of the blue. Their mothers may, okay, it's what is known as dysgenia. Their mothers and their grandmothers were just like them. They have no model for femininity. The celebrities they follow are just as toxic as they are. So it's just like a snowball effect of issues. That's how we find that the ghetto culture has really set into black women. And you cannot address ghetto culture without addressing black women's trauma. This is actually the main reason black women have problems with being feminine. And once again, this relates to my earlier point about the SJWs. Remember the Olua Toyin Salau, the Black Lives Matter activist who was sexually assaulted and murdered by a black male? It's like she didn't understand that the BLM movement was not meant to protect her. It's like she internalized black males' needs over her own because she was a homeless teen, and here she is campaigning for these males. The whole time she has a family. So once again, trauma makes you do ridiculous things. They lack self-awareness, in short. So if you do not address trauma, we will keep having these issues with these SJWs and the ratchet women. Okay, now on to my last point. Some dark-skinned women have antisocial personality disorder. This is not an insult towards them because, like I said, most black women are dark-skinned. Antisocial personality disorder is what you see. It generally covers conditions like sociopath, sociopath, sociopathic behavior. And if you know anything about those people, they tend to have very low impulse control. They have a bad temper, are into drugs, alcohol, and just a risky lifestyle in general. And okay, I want to play this clip for you, and you can just see how some black women think.
No, but you know what? I'm gonna say with Joe Rogan. Yours started off with you talking about pulling a girl's eye out.
Oh yeah, I was a kid, like 12 or 13.
Yeah, you talk about that from a young age. This is a crazy story.
Well, we were young on the east side, we look poverty stricken and shit, so.
What you pull an eye out with?
With a goddamn stick. Okay. And took it on to grandma.
You took that eye for an eye thing too literally,
You know what?
So what did your grandmother say when you came home with this eyeball on the
I
stick?
had it behind my back, and it was blood on the front of me, and she said,
What was you doing with it?
I don't know, I just wanted to take it home, because shit, I was scared about this.
Why did you do it? What was the reason?
Because we were young, and, we had we trust her with the little money that we make, selling Kool-Aid and lemonade and stuff, and, we wanted to get some little gym shoes, and when she came back with the gym shoes on and her little dress, I said, well, bitch, I had a bound for me. All the neighbors didn't want to take me anywhere. So I'm like, where you get that from? With the money we raised, I guess we went crazy. So everybody got to pushing her around. I just said, let's end it. I just picked up the stick and,
Don't play with her money.
Okay.
Why you just ain't take her shoes?
On some real shit. I'm remorseful for that because that girl, and when I went to prison, when we grow up and got older, she came to my grandmother's house looking for me because she has a glass eye. My parents were broke. She was a pretty girl, light-skinned girl with green eyes. So she felt a little different. You know, she felt a little different, and she wanted to know why. You know, because she's on drugs. She lives in Indiana now, and she just wanted to know why. Like, you know.
You traumatized that poor girl.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Lord
You know,
have
I'm
mercy.
sorry, though.
No, but you know what? I'm gonna say with Joe Biden. You're
Okay, so as you can see, some black women have serious problems with their temper and their impulse control. These are not people you should ally with. They are danger to themselves and to others at large. It's not that they, most of these women obviously do not care about the challenges that other black women face. And I want you to notice what she said. I don't know if these are transgender baby. I want you to notice what this person said. That this was a light skinned girl with the green eyes. And that's kind of what triggered me because you see, why would she mention that? But anyway, I know she would have done it if it was a dark skinned woman anyway. Who knows what else this person has done in their life? We don't know. So I would say that some black women are genuinely not worth having that connection, and you are going to have trouble trying to unite them for a cause for the common good of black women as a whole. So, in conclusion, to recap, black women abandoned femininity to chase black male approval. They did not, okay, I may have phrased that badly. They may not have abandoned, but they felt that they were obliged to do this, to appeal to black males. It's all black males. The quote unquote good black males that the ladies who focus on colorism are chasing after just know how to mask. They know how to project a certain image. Another thing is that most black women suffer from trauma or poverty, and in that state, femininity will not help them. And a lot of black women suffer from ASPD and have no interest in self preservation. And in summary, there are many black women who have, there are a lot of issues, and all this can only be solved by beginning to divest. Once black women divest, then the rest can, the rest will follow. But if they do not get themselves out of these toxic environments, you know there will not be any changes or improvements. You will just keep making video after video of this colorist, that colorist, this light skinned woman, that light skinned woman. Yeah. And at this point, we cannot blame light skinned women for our problems. We cannot blame the non black women for our problems. There's a lot of there's a nuance needs to be had on where all of these problems are coming from. So, sorry, I noticed in the earlier slide it had a few spelling mistakes. I was in quite a hurry. Apologies for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.